And that's what he said. I was there. I was doing that. And as he goes on, notice as we go on in our text, in verse 14, I was advancing in Judaism beyond many of my contemporaries among my countrymen, being more extremely zealous for my ancestral traditions. Look at all the different catch words in that verse. And what are those catch words? He was becoming the number one Pharisee. He said, I was advancing, I was going to be right on top, number one Pharisee. That's where I was headed. And again, notice, what are some of those words in that verse? Zealous. Anything wrong with being zealous? Is there? If you're zealous for the wrong thing, it can end up in a very negative way. Extreme. The word extreme appears in there. And you think, what we're having is a description of a Pharisee. Zealous, extreme, and tradition. Those are all the words he uses there. And then, as he reviews with the Galatians, then there was a turning point, he said, in my life. And what was that turning point? Verse 15, but when God would set me apart even from my mother's womb and called me through his what? Grace. Called me through his grace. Was pleased to reveal his Son to me so that I might preach him, the turning point in his life. And you remember reading, and Paul remembers it like it was just the day before. Remember the story? Saul, Saul, why are you what? Persecuting me. Why are you persecuting me? And he never got that out of his head again. And for the rest of his life, he was going to proclaim the fact that by grace, God came to him and turned him around. And folks, that's quite an event, a turning point. That's quite an event to turn a Pharisee around. To turn a Pharisee 180 degrees, that almost takes what?
Miracle.
It's not human power that can do that. That's God's power that does that. And so, next he goes on in verse 17, and he said, after this happened, I did not go up to Jerusalem to those who were apostles before me, but I went away to where? Arabia. Matter of fact, to put it all together, after his experience on Damascus Road, he went to Arabia, and some people think that was Arabia South. No, right next to Damascus, just to the east of Damascus, is also called Arabia. Anyway, he disappeared for 3 years after that event. He did not go into teaching or preaching. He disappeared for 3 years. It took him 3 years to get his mind turned around. You read the story, you think sometimes, oh, he goes out. No, no. Goes to Arabia, 3 years. 3 years, he's between him and the Lord. He has to get his mind clear, and he has to realize how he has to reverse everything he ever thought of. 180 degrees.